open African sky. Sometimes I feel that you really know me.
The Leisure Show on Mansfield today, and we sort of mix it up a bit. You know, we give you a bit of cooking, a bit of gardening, a bit of gaming, and then in one of the segments on a Sunday, what we do is we choose a specific leisure activity. And we thought for this first leisure option, we'd take a look at cycling. And I'm joined now by Rob Jackson from the Leverage Corporation. Now, Rob organises a whole host of cycling events around the country. Rob, nice to have you with us here. Rob, how has this COVID pandemic changed cycling? There must have been an effect.
Wow, Jim, it's unbelievable. Initially, when we had the lockdown, remember, we had lots of people walking around their gardens doing 50, 90, 100 kilometers a month. We had people doing Zwift sessions on their bicycles, their stationary bikes at home. And a lot of the guys actually introspectively looked at one another and said, well, this is actually quite fun. Why are we going out there all the time and riding with thousands of people in races where, you know, we've got to rush to get to the start, we've got to rush to do this, we've got to rush to do that. And I think COVID taught the guys that possibly there's an opportunity here to look at quality of life. Let's make things better. Let's have a bit more fun with what we do, rather than putting ourselves under so much pressure. I think a lot of people sat back and said, wow, we can do something really, really nice. And where we've been lucky, Jim, I spoke to you about this a short while ago, was recently we hosted this event down in the Eastern Cape, sort of close to your neck of the woods and mine, in a little place called Morgan Bay. It's about an hour's drive north of East London up the coast. And it was called the Investec Great Kite Trek. We were really chuffed with Investec. The first sponsorship anyone's done or acquired in post-pandemic or during the pandemic. Investec put a lot of confidence in us. We had a really nice concept and philosophy where we were putting an event together. We were putting a tour together, but a big tour. So it wasn't a tour for 10 or 20 people. It was a tour for 200 people. And from that perspective, we really ticked all the boxes. The guys could come. There were no race numbers. There was no timing. The guys could start. Obviously, they had to start at certain points. And they could ride in groups, they could ride with mates, and I think that was what was more important. So there you were out, riding along the coastline, looking at these beautiful views, stopping, going to waterfalls, just relaxing with your mates. You know, when we got to a waterfall, we did have one or two little strategic spots where you had a choice of either a Castle Light or a bottle of water. You could have a relax. My job in the whole thing was, we did have a sweep vehicle, that was me. On day one, my job was to kick them out of all the pubs, because when you got a bunch of guys, the average age on this particular event was 49.2. You got 200 of them. The oldest was 70. So we had unbelievable nicknames like Naughty Mike and Thirsty Kirsty, and we'd given everyone nicknames for the weekend, and it was really great stuff. And what we realized that came out of that is this is what people want. They want more than just getting into a start shoot and riding flat out all the time. They want to get out there and enjoy what they're doing, and rather than pushing the limits. So from that point of view, I think the Great Kite Trek worked, and I think what you're going to find, and people are already starting to copy us, is that we're creating these tours. We had one of the biggest tours in the country. We were really proud of it, happy to do it. I'm pleased to say Investec are back for another 3 years. But I think that's the trend. That's what the pandemic has done to us. It's made us reassess how we want to go about enjoying our riding.
Closer to home, you also do events around Johannesburg. When I say closer to home, this goes all over the world. So I don't know if you do any in Bangkok or Singapore.
Not yet. What's that space though? So yeah, in a couple of weeks' time, on the 5th and 6th of June, we've got an event. It's one of our oldest events. It's now been going for 12 years. And again, we're seeing the trend happening. You know, in the past, we'd have 1,000 people a day pitching. It's a 2-day event. It's a multi-day event. Now we're down because of COVID restrictions. We're no longer allowed more than 250 people participating in the event. So we've already reached our maximum. But we take the strain and the pressure off the guy. There's no batch seeding. It's a great day out. They ride through the trails of Mount Grace in Magaliesburg. Those trails are beautiful, and it's all about enjoying the experience again, and that's what we're trying to do. I keep stressing the word experiential. Experiential. Get out there and enjoy it. Stop. Take photographs of the views. There's some beautiful views. The amount of times I've had people come and say, yes, that was hard, but I didn't get to see anything because I was just riding balls to the walls, etc., etc.
Yeah.
So from that point of view, I think this is the trend. We've also got a trail run happening that weekend. We've got a couple of hundred people coming to do either a 5, a 10, a 15, or a 20. What's fun about the trail run as well, mountain biking predominantly has a male bias, about 65-35, and on the trail running side, it's actually a 65-35 to female to male bias.
That's interesting.
Yeah, there's a really nice trend as well in the trail running. Everyone says when you're getting black riders, black runners, I see it happening on a daily and a weekly basis, how we're attracting the people because there's no longer that pressure on them to come and they're in an unfamiliar environment. They just arrive, they go with the flow, they don't feel like there's any pressure to do anything.
Yeah.
And it's the consistency of those events that we're offering where I think we're lucky in terms of being able to build from there.
Tell us about the charity ride that you're doing.
Well, as some of you may know, during lockdown and during the pandemic, this man sitting next to me here, we started a charity last year called Tour de France, and we decided to create 2 cycle events. The first one we did in September last year. We put it together in 3 weeks. It was an off-road mountain bike ride with just 20 of us. We rode from Pretoria all the way through to Sabien and Mpumalanga, 5 days. It was 350 kilometers. Am I allowed to say that we had more than 350 tequilas on the route?
I know you did.
Collectively, that is, collectively. But again, it was great. In 3 weeks, we raised over 100,000 Rand for charity. The next one coming up is from Bastille Day, which is the 14th of July, all the way through to the 18th of July, which is Mandela Day. Guys, this is where we want you to come to the party and support this initiative that Jeremy and I started. It's a 5-day ride. We're starting in Port Elizabeth in the Eastern Cape. We're going up through the Zeerberg Mountains to a place called Camp Fig Tree, which to me is one of the most beautiful places in the country. Then we're going to head off to a little place called Barefoot Addo, where we spend time with 3 elephants. We actually walk with them. We get to feed them. Some of the guys can actually stay in the camps with them. And then from there, we're heading off into just below Grahamstown, and then down to Kenton. 5 days of fun riding. We're also planning on hopefully visiting the Pig and Whistle.
No. We will be visiting the Pig and Whistle. I'm telling you now.
It's the oldest pub in the country. It's in Bathurst, just outside Grahamstown. Jeremy, the only way you're going to get there is if you're on a bicycle.
Where? To the Pig and Whistle?
Yeah, the roads are closed.
Anyway. You won't keep me away from it.
Yeah. So as I'm saying, it's a charity ride. If you do join us, you will be able to meet Mansfield at the Pig and Whistle. So we're looking for a couple more riders. We've got spots for about another 4 or 5 of a group of 20. You've got to pay your own way. You have to raise 10,000 Rand for charity. And we've got a number of those charities. We've recently got Mark Boucher's Legacy on board. We've got Chocolate Sunflower Fund, Smile Foundation. We've got an NGO called NMed and a host of other charities as well that are part of it. SPCA, Reach for a Dream. So from that point of view, what happens, everyone has to pay their way, as I mentioned. They then have to raise a minimum of 10,000 Rand, and then they come and be part of this special initiative. So if there are those of you who want to come out and ride, give us a shout. Alternatively, you want to sponsor us, get hold of Jeremy on the show, and we'll make things happen from there.
Info at Mansfield, Mansfield Today, that's the number 2, and there are no spaces in between there, .com. Okay, mansfieldtoday.com, and it's info at mansfieldtoday.com if you're wanting to drop us a line. Rob Jackson from the Leverage Corporation, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Jeremy.
And to all the rest of you, have a pleasant day, and we'll catch you next time around. Bye-bye.
There's so much you can show me.